Today we're back looking at some fake friends.
If you're around your friend and you get the smallest inkling, the smallest.
She goes on to say, trust that feeling that someone is not your friend. And you know why this happens? Because sometimes people stay your friend because they know that you're a good friend, but that doesn't mean that they like you. Many years ago, I had this friend, and we would get into harmless arguments all the time. But I noticed that anytime someone was going against me or saying something about me that was negative, he had a justification as to why they were correct. Now, fast forward, this friend ends up hooking up with this woman that I was also friends with. But then he goes and he kisses and tells. He goes and he tells everybody. Now, the woman that he hooked up with was also a friend of mine, and she ends up giving me the password to one of her accounts. I click on her messages, and I end up seeing my name being mentioned by this friend. So I click on the messages, and it turns out that she actually confronted him about telling everyone that they hooked up. And when she confronts him, he decides to blame me. He goes, "Who told you this?" And she says it doesn't matter. And then he goes, "Well, I bet it was Blake. It was definitely Blake." And it wasn't. But then he goes on to say how much he doesn't like me as a person. But then he says, "But Blake is a good friend."
Interesting.
And I never forgot it because it taught me that people will keep you around, even when they don't like you, because they know that you're a good person and a good friend, and they can reap the benefits of doing that. Now, the craziest part about this is that I wasn't even the one who told. It was my ex-girlfriend. But because we were dating at the time, I didn't correct him and tell him who really told, which shows how good of a friend I actually am because I was being a good friend to my girlfriend at the time. Now, of course, I cut this person off. And years later, he ended up sending me this big paragraph apologizing about being a bad friend. And I didn't even open it. I read the preview and then I dismissed the notification.
And that is going to always be in his mind because he's going to constantly think if you think about him. That's quite interesting because I've heard about that before. You know, people don't really like their friends, but they know that they're a good person, so they basically keep them around. It's quite evil, isn't it? I cut my best friend to 23 years off like it was 23 seconds. I'm sick of the slick comments and malicious intent. Something that I think is so interesting with people is whenever people make certain comments, and you can't tell if they're throwing shade or if they're being genuine, they kind of make a comment and there's no way to interpret it. Everyone interprets it differently. Have you ever got comments like that? Because I have. And it makes you think like why they make comments like that. It's like they're low-key throwing a dig at you, but then they're also your friend. But then like, is it a dig or is it not a dig? You can't really understand if it is or not. And they don't recuperate your energy. It's so draining being the good friend when no one is matching your energy back to be there for you. Put it this way, if your friends are constantly sucking the life out of you and don't defend you, they're crap friends. I defend all my friends. It doesn't matter what they've done. Now, to be fair, if they are in the wrong, I'll let them know and I'll not defend them in that situation. However, if someone's talking about my friend, I'm gonna defend them. I have no friends and I'm at peace. See, that's an issue though. I think it's very good to have friends, but it's also good to be peaceful with yourself. You don't want to get too peaceful because it gets very comfortable and then you could start to feel like a bit lonely, etc. So you need friends, but you also need time to yourself. It's about mixing it around and finding the right match.
Like, so stupid that you would post an hour after I post only to, like, you're literally fishing for his attention. He literally commented on your post. He didn't even comment on mine, and I'm like the girl he's talking to.
If he didn't comment on yours and he commented on mine, isn't that kind of
He
a
literally
sign?
saw that you were he probably saw that you were being desperate, so he felt bad, like, and he knows that you're my best friend, so he's like, oh, like, I feel bad, like, I should probably just comment.
If your best friend gets into a relationship with somebody and then they start acting like that, drop them immediately. That was cuckoo. If you read what the original TikTok says, it says my best friend of 3 years called me to tell me I'm trying to get her boyfriend's attention. But is she really, though? By the sounds of it, she just posted an Instagram photo. And if your boyfriend's liked and commented on it, what's the issue? That sounds like a load of insecurity to me. If you've got an issue, if your boyfriend commented on your best friend's picture, that's territorial. She's like a little chihuahua.
Have you ever had a friend that literally hates you for no reason? Because I have. I was friends with.
I'm going to tell you exactly why that friend hates you. And let me tell you, I learned this the hard way. I want you to do yourself a favor and look at all of your friends. Look at the people who have supported you in the bad times. I think that that's something we all pay attention to. We have, I think, a tendency to really notice the people who have been there for us when we're going through it. And that's amazing. That's an amazing trait to have in a friend. But do yourself a favor and pay attention to the people who celebrate wins with you. And I'm not talking about like celebrating your birthday, celebrating the holidays, doing cute little things. I'm talking about who is sitting and talking about your goals with you. Who are you having a conversation with about something that you're so passionate about, that is sitting there and supporting your, cheering you the on? I'm talking about you had something you really wanted to achieve, and that person sat there and cheered you on no matter what the was going on in their life. They made sure to support you. Those people, I'm telling you right now, that friend that hates you, she was there when you were going through it, but she wasn't there to support you when you were doing your You want to know why? Because those friends are jealous of you. Those people have that little green jealousy monster on their back, and they are terrified of how amazing you will be when you are successful at what your goals are. These people don't want you to be successful because they're terrified that you will outshine them, because you will outshine them. Once you realize that, you need to cut these people off because they're dragging you down, and learning that lesson is going to be painful because it's going to be people that you didn't think it was going to be, but you will be better off. And I can promise you that right now.
I can't really add any more into what she said because all she spoke was the truth. Tough pill, some people support you in your bad times just because they low-key feel reassured seeing you failing. That's actually quite interesting because I've seen a TikTok from a plus-size person recently. In the TikTok, they're basically talking about how they obviously got really big and their friends were also plus-size. Whenever they started talking about wanting to lose weight and better themselves, their friends had an issue with it. And then whenever they started eating healthily, working out, going to the gym, and actually started to lose the weight, their friends kind of turned it and made them feel bad for it. And at the end of the TikTok, they basically summarized it by saying that they think they were only friends with them because they were also fat, and their friends would look at them as a way to feel better about themselves, like, oh my god, that person's big as well, so I feel a lot better. They didn't really like them for them. And then of course whenever sort of like lose the weight, you know, their friends cut them off, like they had an issue with them bettering themselves because then it made them feel insecure about themselves. I just think that's so interesting. You have to be so careful whenever it comes to friends. Not every friend out there is your best intentions. LMAO, I told my friend I got a raise and she just said, I wish my job gave me one too. Hate that energy for you. It's the fact that they can't even be happy for you. If my friend got a raise, I'd be like, well done sunshine, you deserve it. Your friend has literally said, I wish my job gave me one. That's a defeatist attitude, and I feel like a lot of these people are always defeatist. It's like they always have to suck the life out of everything. If it's not about them, they have to make it about themselves somehow. And the friends who were never there for you, but they've said they always believed in you when you've made it without them. I mean, if they actually believed in you, they'd tell you. They'd be with you, they'd support you. They wouldn't just say, oh, I believed in you. If they actually believed in you, they'd let you know. That's what a friend does. Okay, so that was a few TikToks. We're now gonna have a look on Reddit. When did you realize your friends were actually fake friends? Back in my first year of college, I used to have a group of friends, like 7 dudes and me included. We always hanged out together, and we used to have this group chat where we discuss anything from class subjects to random things. After a year, I noticed that one of the guys, his call him Randy, keeps getting excluded, not invited to group hangouts while they're literally talking smack behind his back. And the unofficial leader of the group actually made a whole new group chat inviting everyone, myself included, except Randy, without his knowledge. That's quite interesting because I'm going to talk about this in a minute. A lot of friendship groups are kind of like pyramid schemes. I know what it feels to be left out. I experienced that in middle school and it's really awful. I stopped hanging out with them and I started hanging out with Randy. He's quite eccentric but a very good person at heart. We've been friends for more than 6 years. He's still got my back. Okay, so that's good that you dropped them friends and became friends with him because quite clear they're fake friends. However, what I think is so interesting is how he said, and the unofficial leader of the group. In every friendship group, I feel like there's kind of like a hierarchy. There's usually one, if not two people at the top, a few people below them, and then people at the very bottom. The people in the middle want to be with the people up at the top, and the people at the top don't want the people in the middle to be up at the top with them because then they don't have power over them. And also with groups like that, I feel like a lot of times people at the top and people at the middle always make people at the bottom do their dirty work. I'd always say whenever I was back in school, you know, if there was a group of boys and they wanted to play a prank at a teacher by going up, like knocking on their door, the popular kids at the group would never do it. They'd always get the kid at the bottom of the group to do it, basically just to do their dirty work. And I think it's so interesting, isn't it? It basically is like a pyramid scheme. Everyone wants to get up to the top of the group, but they're never gonna get there. Whenever we were supposed to hang out, something came up, and that something was hanging out with the other mutual friend. I've actually experienced that a lot, and it's quite irritating. Whenever I was like 14, 15, 15, if I was going to go and see my friends, you know, we'd obviously arrange it the day beforehand. I would have to walk to them because I love walking. I would literally walk like 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back. Right as I was walking into their street, I'd be like, oh, by the way, I'm walking into your street. Are you ready to come out now? They'd always be like, oh, I'm not too sure if I can come out tonight. You know, something's came up last minute. I don't know. And me being the kid I was, I'd be like, oh, no, that's fine. You know, I'll stand out here for as long as you need. In the end, they'd never really come out and I'd go home. And guess what? I'd see them doing an hour later. They'd be in Snapchat with their friend. They'd be posting photos like, oh, who wants to meet us, etc. And it's like, I literally walked there to meet you and then you just went and seen your other friend. How rude. When I was in school, all my friends and I did different A levels. Despite us all having different lessons to each other, they would wait for each other to go out for lunch together. They would always forget me. Like, I'd come out and they wouldn't be there, so I'd have to have lunch by myself. And then they'd come back and tell me they thought I was with them. I was the only one they didn't wait for. I've only seen one of them since we left school. She had forgotten my name, so that's sad. Well, quite clearly, they were just school friends. I always say to people in school, don't be too upset whenever it comes to leaving school because you'll probably not talk to anyone. Did I talk to anyone out of my old school? I don't think I do. No, I don't. Literally none. Like, I had friends in school, haven't spoken to them since I left school. Like, I haven't spoken to them since I was 16, and it's been years since I've seen them. So it's quite obvious to me that that right there is just school friends. They're not actually real friends. Because if they were real friends, they'd know your name. I flew out to support a friend going for a messy divorce. While I was there, she left me in the apartment to meet up with her boyfriend that I didn't know about. He turned out to just have been released from prison for manslaughter. Manslaughter is like murder, isn't it? Once she told me that, I told her I didn't want to spend time with him, especially considering the circumstances of my visit. The next night, I woke up in the middle of the night to find him in the living room. She said that she thought it wouldn't matter since I was asleep. The next day, she invited her soon-to-be ex-husband over without telling me, and then asked me to mediate their conversation once he got there. That conversation turned ugly fast, and she ended up storming out. He broke down and asked if I thought it was salvageable, and I told him that she had already moved on. Maybe not the best idea on my part, but at that point, she had shown me how valid of a person she is. But it sounds as if she's a very destructive friend. Obviously, she's going for a messy divorce, that's awful. But it's the fact that she's with somebody else after like 48 hours who's got a criminal record for manslaughter. Won't lie, I don't know manslaughter, it sounds like murder to me. Friends who are destructive like that, you need to drop them immediately because they're gonna do you no good.
Who here has dealt with like a secretly jealous best friend? So I was sitting in my friend's car at the time, and you know, she turned to me, and it wasn't like we were in a conversation, right, where she was like intently looking at me. She was looking at me in a way where she was analyzing every like part of my face. And what did she do? So after she's like analyzing me, looking at me weird, she opens this up, she goes like this, and she starts going, and then turns back to me and starts looking at me like this, like literally comparing like herself to me, but like she forgot I was there. So I was kind of creeped out. Like, it was kind of like really weird. Like, I was like, this is awkward. Like, I don't even know what just happened. Like, this is beyond weird. So she's also like, oh, commented on the way that I looked. Like, she'd be like, oh my God, how is your skin so clear? Oh my God, how come you don't have a wrinkle there? Or like all of these things. And I'm just like, what? Like, who says that? So she also was like, how do you have so many followers? And she had like 500. So I helped her. I was like, okay, you know, I'll help you. Like, I helped her like get her following up, told her what to do, whatever. And it was always just like I felt like I was constantly like had somebody like comparing themselves to me. And it's like, I don't like that, you know, like we're all here to win. I want you to succeed. I want me to succeed. You know, like it was very weird. And then like, I'm like living with the person that I'm with, and she's like, why don't you live alone? And I just finished telling her that like, I think this is going to be the like engagement and all of these things, you know? So it was just like, it was really like so weird. And the moment that she got like a new friend and like latch onto that girl's friend group, it was like she never brought me around. And this is the type of girl that like needs to be the center of attention. So like normally people like me, like I'm not trying to be like whatever, but she didn't want to bring me around because she viewed me as a threat. And it's so crazy because these people, like, I genuinely believe that you have best friends that, or friends in general, that they don't actually like you, they want to be you, you know? So it's just like, I truly believe that, because it's like, you're like jealous of me. Like, it's weird, you know? But watch out for them jealous ass, hating ass, okay? Like,
We don't want none of that over here.
That person doesn't view you as a friend. They view you as something, but it's not a friend, usually like an object, like an acquaintance. It's like, yeah, we're friendly, but we're not actually friends. But on the other hand, you think you're like best friends with them. That's not jealousy, that's envy. So scary. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people could be jealous or envy of you. It could be your friends, family members, even like your partner. I've heard stories about people's mums being jealous of them and like trying to steal their partners and trying to compete with them. Imagine being a mother and competing with your child. And then sometimes dads get jealous if the baby like gets more attention than them from the mother. Imagine being a dad and being jealous that your newborn baby gets more attention from the mum than you. Like, it's weird. It's crazy because I want to open up and make more deep friendships, but honestly, I'm so hesitant because of situations like these growing up. I encourage people to be open with your friends. However, you do have to be careful how much you tell somebody. You really do have to know if they're a ride or die. Sometimes it could be a ride or die person that backstabs you. I'm very lucky where I've not really been backstabbed by many people. I've only been backstabbed by people who I wasn't super close with. However, these people could be your best friends backstabbing you. The worst ones are the ones that are quiet about it and praying for your downfall. Currently dealing with that myself, and that's what's so scary. It's the fact that you don't know that they're hoping in your downfall because they're quiet about it, don't tell you. It's basically like they're doing voodoo behind your back. They're basically praying that your life falls apart. But anyways, guys, let's leave that video there. That was some awful fake friends. If you recognize any of these behaviors in your friendships, please drop them friends immediately because they are not a good friend. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you see me looking more videos like this, then you definitely will. Press the subscribe and see you all tomorrow for another video.